404 Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to my subscribers. Shout out to Mall's Corner, Trey X, and the whole block fam over there. So, real quick, I just want to touch bases once again on Eddie Hearn and his Saudi Arabia debacle or endeavor or whatever you want to call it. You know, I've been thinking about that for a moment, and one thing that comes to my mind is that, you know, for Eddie to have done this press conference, he has a go ahead, he has a green light from someone, you know, within that organization that gentleman was a part of, that was on stage with him. So, and I know he's supposed to be high up in that organization. So, the thing that I wonder is if he's kind of locked in to that deal with them, as in, if he can't put on that fight, he owes them something, whether that be their money back plus interest, or whether he could face some kind of suit from them, or whatever the case may be. But what I've been thinking is that maybe Eddie knew that Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz's fight was not going to land in Saudi Arabia all alone, and that he used Anthony Joshua and Ruiz's rematch as a way to secure that venue or to secure that deal from Saudi Arabia, much like how we all feel like he got the zone deal off the back of Anthony Joshua and a few other fighters. So, you know, that being said, it makes me wonder if he's not going to, in turn, come back to them and say, hey, sorry, I couldn't get the guys to agree to, you know, to come over here. You see what Andy Ruiz is doing, how he's, you know, Andy Ruiz is vehemently against coming over to Saudi Arabia for the fight. But this is what we can do. I have this fighter, this fighter, this fighter, and this fighter who I can put on the card. Kind of like he did with with the Madison Square Garden card, where instead of him putting some of his U.S. fighters on the card, where Anthony Joshua, he put on all those UK fighters. Maybe he puts a lot of those, he marches out a lot of those same fighters over there in Saudi Arabia and puts them on the card, and still secures the bag, so to speak, and didn't have to put the fight that he knew he couldn't put on over there to start with. It's kind of like a bait and switch type deal. But that's what I'm starting to wonder if that's what this is all about. Because I don't believe Andy Ruiz is going over to Saudi Arabia, and I don't believe that Eddie Hearn thought that Andy Ruiz was going to go to Saudi Arabia, unless he's really that confident in the piece of paper that unless he's that confident in the contract that they have drafted up. But I mean, there's no, you can't make a fighter do anything. I mean, and that's the thing. If the man doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia, he won't go, even if that means getting stripped or whatever the case may be. So that was very bold and very arrogant and pompous of Eddie to put on that press conference with no fighters, with no fight secured, to put on in that venue that hasn't even been erected yet. But that's my thoughts on it. Just something to think on. D-Lo 404 Boxing, I'm out. Peace.